Great, that's working. View stream. And turn that off. And does the temperature feel all right? I walked here and booked it for 20 minutes. So I feel very warm right now. Does the room temperature feel all right with the fans going? Cool, good. It's that multi-layer season. I was out this morning, had a long sleeve shirt on to walk the dog. Came back, short sleeve shirt to get to the office. Hey, while we're getting started here, is anybody new to me or new to the studio? New to the studio or new to me? I guess we'd be both, most likely.
I was here very long time ago.
All right, welcome back.
1.5 years.
Oh, all right, yes, welcome back for sure. Your name is?
Jenna.
Jennifer. All right, cool, I saw it on there, nice. Welcome back. Some things have changed, some things haven't changed. Listen to your body. It's an intermediate class. There's an understanding that you have an understanding of your body and of your practice. I'm up here for the most part, partly because I'm on camera, partly because I don't do a lot of hands-on adjustments. But if anybody would like support in that way, feel free to ask for it, and I come over and give support in that area as well. True for and open for anybody here, things I should be aware of in people's bodies today, limitations, new things, or things you would like to work on today if you have some interest about how to make this class match what it is that you need for yourself today.
You mentioned heart openers.
Yes. Yes. We've got some heart openings. We'll get some twists. Generally still full spectrum, but working up towards something we're playing with on Monday with Vyagrasana or bound Vyagrasana. So, hey, welcome, Amy. Doing a back bend, asymmetrical back bend, and staying lower to the ground. Just how I'm thinking about things here right now. What do I do with my phone so I can put on sound? I had it here. Ah, here we are. Cool. So if anybody needs 2 blocks or a strap, give me a heads up. I can bring them around for anybody if you need them. And I'll take one set of these to the back of the room in case you have anyone else. You're welcome. In case anyone else comes through here in another couple of minutes. Now, I was mentioning here, feel free to sit in Sukhasana if you would like to. You can have your 2 blocks stacked the way I have them on there to sit back on them in a supported Vajrasana or Virasana where you're sitting back on your heels with less pressure down on the knees and a little more space to do some stretching through the quads here. All right. So you were good with heart openers? People feel good for things for right now? We'll see where we go. Cool. You are welcome to make and ask for things along the way. Play, maybe, sort of, kind of. Let's turn that off. All right. Technology. There we are. All right. So in your seat, it may not feel quite as comfortable. You are welcome to adjust, tucking or untucking your toes. You are welcome to adjust your seat entirely and come out of whatever you find yourself in if it feels uncomfortable. But let the hands rest where they are. As you take your next breath in, exaggerate in a way, make your body expand, maybe more so than the breath is. And on the exhale, feel this deep settling of the shoulders, more weight through the hips, through the tops of the feet if you're in sitting back on the heels. Let the next breath not be exaggerated, but just fill the space. And notice how the body expands to fill it. And on the exhale, let yourself settle. So there is this pulsation happening here at the beginning of the practice. And then, as we often do, you can keep your hands either rested here or bring your hands to heart center. Be more intentional with the next in-breath and let it move down and expand into the belly, maybe into the hips, or just sense a stronger connection to the floor and to the ground and the earth beneath you. Same thing here with your next inhale. And just before the exhale is about to begin, draw your belly button ever so slightly in and up to feel the low back lengthen and to add some intention to the breath on the way out. And maybe lift and lengthen through the crown of the head, following the air as it rises. Keep that engagement of your core as the next inhale comes in and moves down and now needs to move elsewhere because we've created a boundary. And you can engage a little bit more firmly if you would like to on the exhale that follows. One more time, just like that, inhaling and expanding. And on the exhale, lifting, getting a little taller as you release hands back down to the lap. Let the eyelids come open if you had them closed, or bring your gaze more focused if you had it unfocused. It's a little easier for some of us if we're coming in here from sitting back on our heels. We're just going to walk our hands forward and come into a tabletop position. If you're in Sukhasana, you have to come into that a little differently. All of us, though, will move our blocks off to the side. So we come from a deeper bend through the knees now to something like 90 degrees here through the knees. Really plant the hands, grip the earth with the mat, and let the tips of your fingers change color a little bit because of the effort there. And if you notice the fingers lifting, the knuckles lifting, can you reground the length of the fingers while you continue to grip? And you may notice that you don't have as much sensation in the palms or the wrist if you do so. Nice way that we can take care of ourselves early on in the practice. We'll do these quite a bit here, preparing for Vyagrasana, tiger paws, what we're doing with our hands right now. Keep your core strong and then just lift through the back of the head a little bit so that your gaze is either just over the top of your mat or in the line with your fingers. And for anybody who hyperextends, if you would like to, you can place a little bend to the elbows, press down through the hands, hug the hands together, and more slowly and more intentionally press the arms towards straight. Just checking in with your elbows here if you are. And then a little different, started to bring into class last week with our cat-cow stretches. You are, of course, welcome to take whatever version of cat-cow stretches you would like to. But in the spirit here of getting more stretch through the quads, on our next inhale, as we send the heart forward and the hands press down and drag back, we're going to bend the knees even more, so bring heels to sit bones. So now the feet are off the mat when we come into our cow stretch. And on the exhale, you're going to drop both knees to the right as you lift through the mid-back, adding a little bit of a side stretch now in your cat. On the inhale, if you're doing this with me, come back to cow stretch, heels to sit bones. And on the exhale, let both knees descend to the opposite side. Feeling a stretch on the other side there. And if that feels nice, feel free to move through that one or two more times on each side, or any other version thereof. Linking breath with movement, and even as we're starting to make changes through the shape and through the movement here through the legs, Be aware of your connection through the hands to the floor. Good. The next time that you come up from the left side, I believe, come to the middle. Press the shins down in neutral, the tops of the feet down here in neutral. And on the next inhale, we're going to walk the hands back toward the knees a little bit. Some people may stand here on the knees. You can place some extra support under the knees. You can come back into Vajrasana if you would like to. And on the inhale, reaching the hands forward, whatever your setup is here with your seat, let the shoulder blades come apart to start. So we're reaching a little bit further forward here still. On the exhale, draw shoulder blades onto the back towards center. And now from this deeper place of connection to the upper back, send the arms wide, palms reaching forward. And on the next exhale, we're going to start to spin the palms down toward the floor, start to spin the palms away from our perspective, from our view forward. And so you'll start to feel shoulder blades want to come apart off the back. That's all right. On the next inhale, come back to neutral, palms forward. And now we're going to start to spin the palms up and feel more lift through the fronts of the shoulders here, the tops of the shoulders. It's sending the shoulder blades towards center and down the back a little bit more. Good. Inhale to come back to center. Bring your hands down by your side. Walk your hands forward. And from your tabletop, step one foot back and then the other, and lower all the way down to the floor, untucking the toes. And again, something we've been playing with here more recently with our warm-ups is some changes here in Shalabhasana or locust pose. You can have the hands back beside you like airplane wings. You can still do that asymmetrically, which we'll get into in a second. Or if you're working on building more upper body strength and just awareness of the effort it is in the upper body, bring your hands forward, palms facing each other, blade edges of the palms down. And this is true regardless of the position for the hands. We're going to press the right foot down and the left edge of the edge of your left palm down as you lift the right hand and the left foot away from the floor. So an asymmetrical Shalabhasana here early on. We don't have to go very deep. And on the exhale, come back down to neutral. What was lifted is now pressing down. What was pressing down is now lifting and rising up. Good. Exhale to come down one or two more times like that on each side for you as well. And after you've done that, about two times on each side after I move this into your own, you can play with that for another round, or you can press the tops of both feet down and now lift both arms and chest and heart away from the floor. Arms overhead, you're going to notice something different. Arms by your side, you'll notice something different. And maybe here on the next exhale, lifting through both inner thighs, lift legs away from the floor. If you can be here for another 3 seconds while I'm talking about it, can you bring the big toe ball mounds to touch so you feel and sense that the feet are at the same height? And then peel the pinky toes back toward the outer knees so that the feet are neutral. And if you're still in this, awesome, everybody. On the exhale, lower back down. Make a pillow with your hands. You can turn your head to one side. Starting early here, pushing up against gravity. And turn your head to the other side. If you're staying neutral, just give yourself another breath or two here in neutral. Nice, everyone. And on the inhale, as we bring our heads back to neutral, plant the hands underneath the shoulders. You can lift the knees and rise up through plank, or keep the knees down and rise up through table, ultimately making your way back to your down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And you find the tiger claws, tiger paws once again through the hands, so that we're taking pressure off of the wrist. And you can pedal through the legs. You can take one leg up to the sky, bend the knee, open the hip, and find a hip opener. Just be mindful at the direction that the foot is moving toward, right? The opposite side, that you're pushing down more into that hand so the shoulder doesn't drop. And then you'll switch sides. And maybe after this, or for some of you who are choosing to not come through the bigger movements just yet, as you push the hands down and hug to center and push them away, we find more length through the spine, and the sit bones move further back because of the lengthening of the spine. We might feel or notice the heels getting a little heavier or closer to the floor without touching. And some of you will choose to walk or step to the top of your mat. If you're playing here with jumping to the top of your mat, we are now more intentionally putting even more weight into the hands. Bend the knees deeply, let the biceps frame out the ears, and as we jump to the top of the mat, we're thinking hips over wrists to land. All of us exhale, folding into your Uttanasana. And then as you look down, add a little bend to the knees so you can adjust. Just see that both feet are neutral, second toes parallel. And your choice is either hips distance or touching or some version thereof. But notice, is the step and stance that you have what you intended and what feels right in your body? I'd come on to fingertips here, as we are still folded in. So the torso is going to lift a little bit. And as we stand down and more firmly through the edges of both feet, on the exhale, without the shoulders collapsing toward the ears, can you start to press the elbows a little wider to give you space to fold in? And just notice how this feels on the low back. You can always add a deeper bend to the knees if that is better. Good. On your next inhale, maybe the hands stay to the floor as you bend the knees even deeper, settling into chair pose with hands touching for more stability. Maybe it is hands reaching forward, and notice how the hips have to move back to balance in your deeper chair. And maybe from this place of your deeper chair with knees over ankles, knees stay bent, but we start to unfurl up from the thighs, out of the hips into a deeper chair pose, Utkatasana. Nice, everyone. On the next inhale, stand down through the feet, tall mountain. Lift the heels if you'd like to. Round the heels when you're ready. Turn the palms forward, hook the thumbs, and as the thumbs try pulling apart and we keep strong here through the core, start to pull the hands away from each other. Feel how the shoulder blades come together a little bit more on the back. And just notice that point of contact, that part of the body where that's happening. That's where we want more of our back bends to come from. And so maybe here on the inhale, the heart is lifting up, the crown of the head is reaching back, and maybe the biceps continue to frame out the ears in a standing back bend, however big or small you need it to be for yourself. Good. And on your next inhale, if you're in a back bend, come back to neutral. Find length once again. And on the inhale for all of us, reach the arms wide. Keep reaching wide as you come down into your mountain Tadasana. As you ground down, next inhale, get a little taller, a little fuller, a little more steady as we start to move into some balance here on one foot. On your next in-breath, reach the arms up and overhead as you sit back and down into the chair. So we're playing a lot more with stretching through the hip flexors here today, so rather than knee forward through our transitions, we're going to keep leg moving back, and we're not going to do a lot of crunching here through the front side of the body. So find your length. But on the exhale, start to reach the hands back, and as the arms come alongside the torso, as you put more weight into the left hand, start to slide the left foot back. Let the right leg straighten. The left leg reach back. Airplane wings in your warrior three. Same thing we just did in Utkatasana. Maybe you reach the arms forward and notice how the body has to change to continue to support you. For everyone reaching forward, reach for me, I've got your hands. Keep reaching for me as that front knee bends. Just slowly, with control, bring that back foot down. We were in that for a long time, so thank you, everybody. Good. Some of us will stay here in crescent. That'll be the back heel lifted, and it is a wider stance. If you would like to take warrior one, you might bring that back foot a little further forward, spin the back heel down, and let the left toes point to the front left corner of the mat. And you can have heel to heel alignment if you want to get super into your Virabhadrasana 1. You can have that foot a little wider if being on a tightrope does not feel right for you. Good. Arms reaching up, palms hugging to center. Maybe finger pads, maybe palms touching, maybe interlacing the thumbs. And as the biceps frame out the ears, lengthen through the fingers into your warrior one. Good. Finding this length, we're pushing down through the feet. And on the exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Notice how the body wants to collapse some with it. Inhale to lengthen a little bit more. And on your next exhale, after we found length, left elbow is either going to tap the inside or the top of the right knee, or maybe comes to the outside of the right knee. And let the right knee push wide as the elbow resists. That'll help to bring that back hip, or that front hip, I guess, actually, a little bit more into center. Nice with the alternatives, everybody. And on the next inhale, come back to center in your warrior one or your crescent. Frame out the foot, lift the back heel, step back into plank pose. Now we do want to find some strength here through the front side of the body, but we'll do it a little bit more evenly. You can bring knees down if you need to. And if it's knees down, you're going to use knees instead of feet with the cues. Right hand and left foot hug toward each other, and continue to do so as left hand and right foot also hug into each other, and feel a lot more energetic and fiery in your plank pose. Good. Not quite a sun salutation B, but sort of. On your exhale, you can either lower fully to the mat or Chaturanga Dandasana. From your Chaturanga, you can come into up dog or come down to the floor for Cobra or Sphinx. We'll do some three-legged variations here. As you come out of your up dog or your Cobra, inhale back to neutral, plank or to the floor or plank. Lift the right foot, point the right toes. And on the inhales, you push up to plank, press back to three-legged dog. One more time here with three-legged dog, knee bends. And as you push more into the left hand, take the right knee wide. Maybe flex or make some circles with that ankle and right foot. On your inhale, you'll come back to three-legged dog. Exhale to down dog. Inhale forward to plank. One more time to the floor for Cobra or Sphinx or Chaturanga Dandasana for your up dog. Keeping your core active, inner thighs lifting, feet pressing down to help leverage and lift. Heart is forward either of these three variations. On your exhale, back to your starting point. Floor or low plank. Lift the left foot away from the floor, point the toes, and push up through three-legged plank. Back to three-legged down dog. Three-legged down dog with a hip opener. And with the hip opener now, we want the right shoulder to stay lifted. Good. Nice, everyone. Inhale back to your three-legged dog. And on the exhale here, we're going to take a big step forward with the left foot. We're doing quite a remix here. I'll see how I do with remembering things and getting the cueing right. So a place where we might want to use the blocks. We're going to spin the back heel down like warrior two. Bring the hand to the inside of the left foot, maybe on a block, so that as we come into triangle pose, Trikonasana, the block might give us the support and lift we need to keep the hip opening happening on the right hip. Right, for our back hip, yes. Good. Activate the core. Take out the back bend or the cow-shaped tendency that is here. Good. Fingers reaching apart, but shoulder blades staying grounded. Another place we might make use of our blocks here. Next exhale, put a nice bend to that left knee. If you don't have a block, you can bring your left hand to a block. You can bring your right hand to your hip. Walk your left block forward, and then wider than the front corner of your mat. You can walk that back foot in a little bit, but keep it flexed so that as you stand through the left leg, the right leg stays strong and engaged and lifting. Maybe right hand reaches to the sky early, yes. Without it meaning that we have to reach back to make the connection. Ardha Chandra Chapasana. That top knee bends, heel to sit bone. Reach the hand back even if you're not making the connection to feel that stretch. Nice, yes. And on the inhale, as you're ready, for those of you who are, slowly with control, release that back leg, put a bend through both knees, bring both feet to meet, let yourself hang ragdoll style over the legs. So that reaching back is this thing that we'll do a couple of more times here throughout the practice. Good. Let your relaxed ragdoll style forward fold start to become more active. With the hands releasing to the floor, the legs moving a little bit or a lot more towards straight. And now for the other side here. On the exhale, both knees bend, your chair pose. Inhale to reach up. Good, same thing here. We're putting more weight into the left foot now, though. And on the exhales, the hands reach back. Once the hands connect to or are in line with the hips, we start to tilt forward and either slide that right foot back, staying low, or standing through that left leg to find your Warrior 3 variation. Hugging legs to center, even though they're in different planes. You have the back knee bend, if that makes it easier for you. I see that back there. Maybe the hands reach forward and the body has to rebalance and recalibrate in your Warrior 3. Nice. Same thing, I'm reaching for you, I've got your hand. I'm helping to slow your descent back down into crescent lunge. Inhale to rise up. Nice, everybody. It is a good thing, I think, when I see smiles in class and we were just doing Warrior 3 for 30 seconds. Good, so either keep your stance there for your crescent, or you can shorten your stance a little bit with that back foot so you can lower the back heel down for Warrior 1. Nice. Back hip is hugging forward, front hip is hugging back. Good, arms overhead. Maybe there's nice openness here as the shoulders keep warming up to bring finger pads or palms with the thumbs crossed. Good. On your next exhale, bring hands down to heart center. Feel the body want to contract. On the inhales, you push down through the feet and hug to center. Press down and lengthen once again to be taller. And on the exhale, right elbow taps inside, top, or outside of the left knee. Maybe it's more of the tricep. And then the knee tries pushing more to the left. The elbow resists, and that helps to keep that outer hip from jutting out. Good, staying a little bit more toward neutral. Feel into your twist. Good. Good. On your next in-breath, unwind back to your neutral. Length once again. On the exhale, reach forward, frame it out, step back to your plank. Take 2 breaths in that X-shape action of left foot, right hand, right foot, left hand hugging toward each other. Forearm plank is a nice option as well. Good. And on the exhale, either chaturanga with support with the knees down or all the way to the floor to come into your back bend of choice through the flow. Good. Inhale back to your chaturanga or to the floor. Keep the left foot grounded, lift the right foot. Inhale, push up through 3-legged plank. Exhale to 3-legged down dog. We'll skip the side to side option here, and on your next exhale, take a big step forward with that right foot. Spin the back heel down into your Warrior 2 stance, using a block to help support the lift and stretch through the hip flexor on the left side there. Left hand reaches to the sky as the right leg straightens. Fingertips to the floor or block. Core stays active here. That right sit bone is tucking under, so there's more stretch on the left here as well. Nice, everyone. We know where we're going, so we don't have to burn out on it. Making our way into Ardha Chandra, possibly Chapasana, front knee bends. Widen the distance here of that block forward and to the right. And as you keep that left foot just as active as it is in your triangle pose, stand through the right leg. If you've got the block and you just want to look down the front side of the body, just see the toes and not the heels. And then if you would like to, that top knee bends, heel to sit bone, reach back, whether you make the connection or not, just to feel what it is like to make that connection in the future and to get there. Good. And as you're ready to come out of it, with control, unbend the knee, place a nice bend through both knees, and settle down into your ragdoll style forward fold once again. Good. How are shoulders feeling for people? All right, good, nice. Move through this little part here just a little faster then if we're feeling pretty good. You might bring your strap with you if you would like to for a heart opening without a back bend. Good. On the exhale, knees bend deeply. Find your chair pose. You can have a strap in one hand. We're going to reach our arms out to the side like a T. Turn the elbows, or turn the palms to face back. And as you bend the elbows, you can either interlace the fingers at the low back. You can take the strap as wide as the outer shoulders with the palms facing forward so you're pulling apart and slowly trying to walk the hands to touch. As the hands try pulling apart first, then reach out through the interlaced fingers to lengthen the arms. For a down chair pose, maybe sit back and down a little deeper. And on the next exhale here, start to hinge from the hips, bring more of belly to thigh as the interlaced fingers start to reach to the sky. Maybe the legs start to move towards straight in Uttanasana. Every time I do that, it feels like a chiropractic adjustment in my upper back. If you got that and it feels good, that was a nice little extra. Good. Re-bend the hands before releasing the strap, before uninterlacing the fingers. Your Uttanasana here, and in your Uttanasana, keeping your right foot right where it is. Take a big step back with the left foot. And then with the left knee lower to the ground, maybe the right foot walks just a little bit wider. Bring both hands to right thigh. Back knee is pushing down and hugging forward. We're going to be here on both sides and on the side for a little bit, so give yourself padding if you need to, including just rolling up the side of your mat. You can keep right hand on right thigh as you reach left arm to the sky. And rather than this being a low lunge, Anjaneyasana is a back bend. You can give yourself support with the right hand pressing down into the right thigh to curl up, and as a reminder to stay long as you reach heart to the sky for the back bend. Maybe the right hand meets the left. Again, maybe it's finger pads, maybe it's palms, maybe we're interlacing all the fingers except for the pointer finger as we settle more deeply into the front knee, front hip. Good. Next inhalation, rise up with the breath. Bring right hand to right thigh, left hand to the floor. You can take that back knee back a little further if you would like to. You can lower forearm down onto a block or forearm down to the floor. That's going to be the deepest and the tightest in here for the twist. Twisted monkey lunge. Pressing down into the right knee, let the torso twist toward the right thigh, right shin. And maybe take right hand to the sky. Regardless of where you are on that left arm, left knee starts to bend, heel to sit bone. Again, maybe right hand is reaching back without connecting. Maybe right hand is able to take hold. Maybe you make use of a strap, and if you would like to, I'm coming around here. I can give some support with the strap if you need it. but it's that reaching back action that we're ultimately finding and feeling. Good. On the inhale, unwind from the twist. If you're on forearms, you can come down onto both forearms. If you had that right knee moving wide, bring that right knee back in line with the body. And for those of you who are down on forearms, we have the option here of lifting the back knee and walking slowly, however we need to, that right foot back to find forearm plank. Otherwise, come onto your hands, step back into plank. You can do plank or forearm plank. Your choice. From your forearm plank. Good. Lower down onto the forearms if you aren't. And then we'll start to walk the feet as wide as your mat. And then with the feet as wide as your mat and thinking a little bend to both knees, start to walk the feet in toward the elbows. Coming into dolphin pose. As big or as small of a dolphin pose as you would like to. We have to do this on the other side. So again, checking in. When we come through on the second side, if anybody would like to rise up into Pincha Mayurasana, you're welcome to. For those of you who are in dolphin still, we're going to walk the feet back in your forearm plank. You can either bring the knees down to come onto both hands. We're staying more active and fiery here. Lean to the left to come onto the right hand. Lean to the right to come onto the left and find yourself back into a plank pose. Lifting the hips up and back for your down dog. And same thing here from our down dog. You can walk or step to the top of your mat or practice with the jumping and the lifting the hips higher and landing with the feet already more toward neutral. Each and every time you do that, we increase our awareness and our strength for doing so. Good. Side two here. So the left leg is going to stay right where it is. Slide the right foot back. Lower the back knee. Widen that left foot a little bit if you need to. On the inhale, come onto hands to thighs. Hug to center through the thighs. Front leg, back leg hugging to center here. Your core is active and either keeping left hand pressing down to remind you to lift and lengthen. Reach right hand to the sky. And keep pushing into the left thigh to keep that left side long as you settle a little more deeply into the lunge. A little more stretch through the right hip flexor on the right side. Maybe left hand reaches up to match. And maybe the heart starts to curl up, reminding yourself to continue to reach heart to the sky, not back. The head reaches back, the fingers can reach back. Good. But that length helps to support low back for today, for next week, however it might be. With your next in-breath, coming back up to neutral, planting, right hand to the floor, left hand to the thigh. Again, you can come onto right forearm to block or right forearm to the floor, and you can turn those left toes out a little bit more if you need to. You can walk that right knee back a little further if there's some more openness on that side here now. And as left hand pushes down into left thigh, twist the torso toward the left. Let the outer right hip try lifting in the other direction just to neutralize a little bit. Maybe it's left hand to the sky. Right knee bends deeply. Maybe we're reaching back. Maybe we're reaching back and making a connection. Twisted monkey lunge on the second side. Nice. Yes, inhale to unwind. Nice, everyone. If you're staying on forearms, you can bring on the other arm down onto the forearms or come onto both hands, step back to plank. And either way, we'll find ourselves lowering into forearm plank. From forearm plank into a dolphin pose, you can start with the feet as wide as the mat and a deep bend to the knees as you walk forward. You can start to bring the legs towards center. You can start to bring the legs towards straight. You can play with Pincha Mayurasana or prepping for that by lifting one foot and then the other at a time. I guess I meant to say that for prep. We don't just, it's not prep, just immediately jump right up into it. Good. Give yourself another 10 seconds or so to play. For those of you who are in your dolphin pose and you are done with dolphin, walk the feet back, bring the knees down to the floor. You can give yourself a child's pose. Dolphin is a heck of a pose. Good. Nice, and just because we are playing here with the shoulders, I see some people doing this already. You can have the hands walking back behind you. So gravity does the work of doing some stretch through the shoulder blades. If you would like some more shoulder stuff, you'll walk the hands forward, come onto finger pads with the palms lifted. Try hugging the finger pads together without them really moving. And that more active lift through the hands gives a deeper stretch through the fronts of the shoulders. Nice. Whichever variation of your child's pose you're in, let your next exhale be the depth. The next inhale, if you have hands by your side, walk them out in front of you. And as we both push the hands down and hug back toward the knees and push into the tops of the feet, allow yourself to rise up from the top and the bottom of the pose into tabletop. From tabletop, you can tuck the toes, sit the hips back on the heels, or whatever would feel right for you to sit for just a couple of breaths here. Is everybody familiar with Vajragasana or Tiger's Pose? The people who were on Monday, I hope so. Otherwise, I really messed up on Monday. It's Vajragasana is tabletop, but there is a back bend on one side, and so it's similar to what we were doing in reaching back from here, except now we've got the body a little bit closer to the floor, I think. Knee is lifting, reaching back to find the connection here. You can use a strap as well. The toes can be pointed, foot can be flexed, it's up to you. But once you make that connection, because we're crossing over the midline, it becomes really easy for the knee to want to move wider, and that changes the shape of the low back. And if we start to come into a back bend with the legs moving wide, it can be not great in the moment, it can feel all right, but if it becomes your pattern, it can become something more uncomfortable or not good for the body over time. So before we come into the back bend, we want to reconnect to the midline. That's where our strength and stability comes from. And then as the heart is reaching forward, we're doing this work of lifting the inner thigh, trying to keep heart reaching forward. It's not going to be completely perfect because we've got to have some openness here on this side. And then we'll reach out to balancing table to neutralize, come back to center, second side. If you would like to have a strap, do have the strap ready to go by your side without having so much slack in it that like your connection to what I want to do here with this, up the side. So that our connection to the back bend isn't like our hand reaching totally forward here, but can we get it to a place where we can have it further back so we're getting more of a stretch through the shoulders. Oh, that actually feels nicer with the strap. If you find that like your body is difficult to untwist in it, the strap made it so much easier just to be like heart forward, leg lifting, different sort of thing. So we have that. That's a nice thing to figure out. And if you need help with the strap, like I said, I'll be coming around and giving some support if you're trying to make that connection, all right? So we'll see how that feels for everybody. You don't have to make it very deep. But like we were doing in Shalabhasana from the very beginning, that inner thigh lifting is what is going to deepen the back bend shape through the lower part of the body. And then the more the heart is reaching forward in your cow stretch is where the back bend moves then also into the upper back. All right? So have your strap by your side if you need to. Come back off of the heels into your tabletop position. Find your tiger claw. So this is tiger pose. I didn't realize at the time, but it was a yoga training this weekend. And I was like, we usually start there with that. So you may have done some of this if you were in the teacher training this past weekend or some of the story. Find that groundedness through the hands, though. But we're going to settle into the left foot or to the left knee and keeping the right knee bent. Start to lift through the inner thigh to feel or sense thigh parallel to the floor. If it moves past parallel, that's where you might feel the belly drop or the pubic bone descend. And so we want to stay neutral here to start. With the right toes, either pointing or the right foot flexed, come onto left finger pads. Maybe left hand reaches forward. And as you turn the palm away from you with the hand reaching forward, strap or not, reach back into space. You have to find cat stretch here some, and you can twist a little bit to the left to help to make that connection to ankle, to toes, to using the strap. I'll come around here in a second. And on the inhale, as we start to twist the torso, the heart more toward the front of the room, the foot tries to the knee tries to unbend and to kick back. And maybe the inner thigh lifts just a little bit more if you've got it. Nice. Inhale, back to left arm or right arm forward, left arm back, whatever it is. The things that were connected. I knew it was going to happen eventually. Good. And we're all finding balance even as we're smiling because I'm messing up. Exhale, come back into your table. You can sit back on the heels if you'd like to for a second. Questions, concerns, thoughts?
The connection is made. Is the torso twisting as well, or is it?
The torso is going to be twisted some because it's a big stretch for here. We're using it to get into it. I said if you're using the strap, it becomes a lot easier to come forward. Depending on the mechanics of your body, depending on the proportions of your body, it may be easier. And reaching inside will do that as well to have more of heart forward. But even here, my shoulders are a little bit out of line. The idea of bringing everything into line starts to feel uncomfortable in the back. And so using the strap is nice for that. All right, cool. Anything else for other people? All right, we'll try the second side then. We'll come back into table. Find your tiger paws again. Put weight into the knuckle mounds on the top of the palm on both hands. And as you stay heavier now in the right knee, keeping the left knee bent, send the left thigh back and then up to neutral. Maybe here we can try something else here with the hands pressing down. Try hugging the hands back toward the back knee so we have our heart coming forward here a little bit already. Shoulders down, openness. On the inhale, come onto right finger pads. And you can take hold of the strap here now if you would like to. Reach the right hand forward. Let the palm turn away from you. And as you reach wide, we've done that a couple of times in the practice here, reach wide. And as you bend the knee more fully on the left, heel closer to sit bone makes it a little easier maybe to use the strap or to make the connection. And once you do, the foot tries kicking, the heart stays lifting, that outer hip is trying to hug to center. It's moving wide for balance. That's all right. Nice, nice. Oh, that side's easier for you, if easier is the right word. Inhale to unwind into the balancing variation just for a second. Feel it, and on the exhale, come back down to table. And from table, you can send the hips back toward the heels. You can untuck the toes. You can take the knees wide. Just let the back body now stretch out after all of the contraction of the back bend. And everything felt all right in everybody's low back. There wasn't any crunching sensation or anything that was good. Okay. On your next exhale, find your depth. The inhale, press the hands down with intention, press the tops of the feet down with intention, and exhale here from this tighter, more engaged child's pose. And on the next inhale, as you push into the tops of the feet, try pulling the hands back toward the knees to pull yourself forward. Take feet to one side. hips to the other. And we're intentionally going to stay like this here for a second for Bharadvajarasana. So this is an easier seat for the pose here in general. If this feels all right, feel free to stay here. Bharadvajarasana 1 is going to be more of this lower shin parallel, so it is arch into knee, and is everybody's right shin forward? All right, cool. If not, just come into right shin forward just so that I don't have another reason to mix this all up. So you can stay here in Bharadvajarasana 1. If you'd like to come into 2, it looks a little bit like Padmasana on this bottom leg, and so instead of shin down, this left leg is going to stay right where it is. The right heel and right ankle are going to come into the left hip crease. That knee will probably come a little bit more forward. If half Padmasana or anything with lotus is uncomfortable for your knee, stay here in Bharadvajarasana 1. Good. We're staying grounded here on the right hand, finding this length. On the inhale, reach left arm to the sky. Whether you're in 1 or 2, first option here for the twist is going to be left hand to right knee to draw yourself off toward the right hand. That right hand is going to hug toward the right knee as well to support a deeper twist. If you would like to come into a deeper twist here with your left arm reaching to the sky, we again turn palm away, bend the elbow, bring the back of the palm to the mid-back, push in to the back, and then front body pushes into the back body. And maybe that hand walks off a little bit more and finds the right bicep. Either of those options. On the exhale, it is left side of the torso turning to the right, right side of the torso pushing back toward the left. And if it feels all right on your neck, you can take your gaze over the right shoulder. But check in with yourself there. On the inhale, come back to center. If you're in the half Padmasana variation, release the foot. Come back onto both hands behind you. Lift both knees, switch sides. And so now the left shin is forward, left arch of the foot is touching the right knee. Staying here on this side if you would like to, or same thing on the other side, maybe without twisting the knee. We're lifting the left shin, bringing the ankle, the heel into the hip crease. Maybe that knee starts to come forward. Good. Same 2 options here for the twist. Left hand is pressing down, then before we twist, we lengthen and give us lots of space through the spine for the twist. Inhale, right arm reaches to the sky. First option. On the exhale, right hand takes left knee and draws you into the twist. Or right palm spins away, elbow bends. Palm finds the mid-back, pushes into it, and then the front body pushes back into it. And then maybe that hand keeps on walking off to the left side. And now we twist right side toward the left and left side behind you toward the right. Inhale, and on your exhale, maybe the gaze moves more off the left shoulder if that feels right for you and your body in this moment. And on the inhale, come back to center. As you plant both hands, lean back, send both feet forward, both legs long. Push through the big toe ball mounds. Let the calves be heavy, let the inner thighs be heavy. Lift and find length once again here. And on the next exhale, we'll take left leg off to the left, take right leg off to the right, Upavista Konasana. Maybe you add a bend to both knees. Maybe you add a bend to both knees, and then as you press the heels down and hug heels towards sit bones, you can also press out through the heels and find a little more release to come into legs long in our Upavista Konasana. Good. We're going to stay upright here. Had our hands on the back. Just bring your hand to the low back and just check if it feels like the low back is dropping back behind you. That's a good reminder to bring that bend to both knees and stay taller and more neutral through the low back, especially if you're coming into a back bend. If we have the back like pointing out, I guess concave, if everyone remembers physics. I don't remember from 12th grade. But if it's supposed to curve in toward the front body. If it's curving out, then we're here, and now we're trying to reach forward. It's going to be that much more difficult, and we're asking our spine to move in ways that it is not always going to be happy with. So if you feel that lift of the low back and of your pubic bone more toward the floor, you can start to walk the hands forward. Otherwise, stay more upright. Rather than just hands walking forward, you might walk your hands wide. You can take yogic toe lock on both of your big toes. And with yogic toe lock on both of your big toes, we can start to bend the elbows down and a little bit wide to remind our torso to lengthen as we're folding forward. There will be a little bit of a cat stretch shape, but we don't want it to be too deep. Good. Nice. On the inhale, slowly start to come up. As you're coming up, you can bend both knees. Bring the feet into center here. Baddha Konasana. So we're going to come into Ardha Matsyendrasana here in just a second. We used this about a month ago to be an entry point to come into Ekapada Kundalini 1. Yes, for the twist. If you would like to do that, I'll give us some guidance through it. It was a thing we focused on and built the class to get to that space. And so now we're just taking something from the last month and seeing what it was like to toss it into today's class. We've been doing the stuff that we need to for it, but our focus has been on more of the back bend here. So we'll keep right leg just as it is. Lift left knee so it's straight up to the sky. First option, depending on how it feels in your body for the twist, is going to be just to bring the ankle behind the heel. And so it is a wider seat for the twist that may feel better for some of us. If for whatever reason, twisting closed twist is not right for you, feel free to twist in the opposite direction away from the leg. So you have this option here. You can bring the knee directly out in front of you, the right knee, and let the left foot cross over the right knee. And as much as we can, inner edge of that foot is pressing down. That's going to bring more of knee to center. It's going to be a deeper stretch here. You can stay here, giving yourself a nice big hug. There's still some twisting that's happening. You might bring inside of the right elbow to the left knee and twist more toward the left here. Places we might be going for some of us, if you're interested, is going to be left or right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Hopefully onto the more of the tricep and the thigh if you're going where we might be going. Exhale into the twist. If you would like to move here with me, we're going to bring the right hand down to the floor, similar to the left. We're going to lift both hips. Send that right foot back behind you a little bit, but keep the left knee, left thigh onto the right tricep. And as you put more weight into the hands, like chaturanga arms, maybe that bottom foot lifts and floats away from the floor. Maybe you extend out through the heels, lengthening the legs in your Ekapada Kundalini 1. And on the exhale, come back down. And inhale all of us back to neutral. Nice there. Good, shake out the legs. So we spent the whole last month, I guess, the month 2 weeks ago, doing that. But we haven't done it in that way. For the people who were there for that, did it feel any different doing it and returning to it again? Ish? All right. Just more opportunity to practice with it and see what it does. So with our legs out and extended in front of us again, we'll draw right knee in, pointing straight up to the sky. Bring the left foot behind the right ankle. And again, more spacious twist here, even where we're twisting toward the front leg, but feel free to twist away from that top leg as well. Or bring yourself in more tightly, left knee straight and forward from the left hip. Right foot crosses over, right foot grounds. And now we're holding and hugging yourself here for the stretch on the outer right. Maybe elbow over the right knee. Maybe it is right elbow or left elbow to the outside of the right leg. Exhaling for your twist. And if you would like to, left hand finds the floor. Put more weight into both hands to lift the hips. Start to let that left foot move back a little bit behind you. And as you bend the elbows into chaturanga arms, let the right foot lift. Maybe the left foot lifts with both knees bent. Maybe we extend out through the heels, both legs long. There's a wall on the way there for you. Ekapada Kundanyasana 1, second side. Exhale, come down. Lengthen out through the legs. Shake out the legs. Take a nice full breath in. And just after some forward folds, some twists, some forward fold, some back bends, twists, and forward folds, a little bit more of a gentle opening through the front side of the body here. You can take bridge pose, which is a heart opening, but it is more focused on the neck. And so feel free to take bridge pose and to make it restorative if you would like to. Lifting up and bringing blocks underneath the hips. If you would like something a little more active, but is still going to be about stretching out the front side of the body, rather than bridge pose, we'll come into either reverse table or reverse plank. If you're taking reverse plank, your legs are staying long, we're pointing through the toes, and as the hips lift, we want the toes to find the floor. It doesn't have to mean it's doing that this time, though. You can bend the knees deeply, coming in, fingertips pointing away from each other, and as you stand through the feet, knees reach forward, gaze stays down the front side of the body for a reverse table or reverse plank. Nice with the options, everybody. If you're in reverse table or reverse plank, something we'll get into in the next couple of weeks, I think, keep the hips lifting. Let the hips move a little further back and find straight legs once again with the hips lifting. And on the inhale, lift right leg away from the floor. Good. Exhale down. On the inhale, lift left leg away from the floor. Exhale down. On the next inhale, send the hips a little further back. And on the next inhale, can you lift it away from the floor? Exhale, come down. For later. Another class, another day, we're focusing on that. That's a big one at the very end. Right at 1 o'clock. This is one of the best times I think I've had in quite a while here. We will take Shavasana for about 2 minutes. If there's any other final poses that you need after that, give yourself just about 5 or 6 breaths to do so. Be intentional about giving yourself Shavasana, or feel free to come right into your Shavasana. If you do need to leave, still give yourself just about 5 or 6 breaths. You can collect your stuff, and I will put stuff away. You're welcome just to step on out. Good. And for anybody who is doing shoulder stand, at the end here, just be mindful to give yourself Matsyasana or fish posture to counter the stretch on the neck. And with each exhale, let yourself move a little more deeply into stillness. Let the sensation of the breath help to keep you grounded. So feeling the changing connection of the back body to the floor. Feeling the connection of the breath expanding the torso, and the exhale shrinking. Let your next in-breath be deeper than the last. And the in-breath that follows deeper still, making any sorts of little movements that start to reawaken, re-enliven, reconnect breath, body, and mind. And if you would like something a little bit more led, bring the legs to touch, and as the arms reach overhead, stretch toe tips away from fingertips. On the exhale, stretch heels away from fingertips. On the inhale, toes away from fingertips once again. And on the exhale, draw knees and elbows to center. Give yourself a nice big hug, maybe into Upasana, maybe into Happy Baby, maybe into something that is not quite as formal as either of those two. And make little hip circles and things that massage out or give some nice pressure to the parts of the back that might want it. And you can either rock and roll right on up to have a seat, or roll off to your one side, rising back up to Sukhasana. So a little different than how I asked most of us to start, but still an opportunity with some stillness and with less action in the body to notice the effects on the mind and body of an hour of mindful movement, the asana portion of the 8 limbs of yoga. And you can stay here with this exploration, continuing to let each exhale make more space and each inhale to hold more space. Or if you'd like to join me in the sound of one Om, on the inhale, bring hands to heart center, and exhale completely. To inhale once more. The light in me bows to the light in each of you. Namaste, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today. This is my usual time, Mondays at 6:30. Also a 75-minute class, more all level. Yeah, well, I mean, yes, all levels and full spectrum is what I really meant to say, because we make space for everybody here as much as I'm aware that there is something else we need to do here. The next couple of weeks, while you're getting your things together, you don't have to pause to listen to everything here. This Saturday is Kids Yoga Fun Night with Sarah. That's from 5:30 to 8. The day after, Sarah is leading Family Yoga from 11:30 to 12:30. So check that out if you're interested. Later this Sunday is the Wim Hof method and ice bath for yoga practitioners. It's from 1 to 5. I don't know if I was saying this, I don't know if they're going to have like ice baths here. They are? Oh wow, this is going to be a heck of a setup. I was sharing on Monday, I did something-ish like that in Budapest in the Turkish bathhouse there, and you go into like a steam room that is like 120 degrees, and then you come out and you pull a bucket of cold water over top of you, then you go into another hot pool, and then you go into a cold pool. None of it involved ice, and all of it was deeply uncomfortable. But it's here for a reason. I don't say that to talk people out of it. But it is about some shock, for sure. Also later on Sunday, Anisha is leading Durga Stories, Lessons for Navaratri, which is coming up, the 9 nights celebration here. Mariel's also is doing an intermediate and advanced 4-week series Mondays beginning next Monday from 6:30 to 8:30. So that's happening as well. Larry's doing an inversion and arm balance workshop on the 11th. That's coming up. I do have to sign up for that one. Sound bath healing is continuing here Sunday at 6:45 with Elizabeth. And luminous lessons from ancient India with Rupa Pai. Rupa's been in some of the teacher trainings before as a guest speaker, so they are bringing Rupa in to speak for, it looks like about an hour and a half on Saturday and Sunday, the 19th and 20th. If you're interested in it, does that line up with the teacher training weekend?
Yes.
All right, so it's part of the teacher training, but it seems like it's going to be open to everybody. I may stop in with that as well. I've enjoyed conversations with her in the past. Thank you, everybody who stayed to continue to listen to me ramble on here. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and a great weekend.